Hey guys, welcome to another episode with me, Shashank Udupa. And in today's episode, we are going to look at some really good mid-cap stocks, right? Now, it is sector agnostic. It is not from one particular sector, but we will look at 4 to 5 different mid-cap companies that are very good. And I categorize this as something called growth plus stability, right? Because we want some angle of growth. So we don't want only large cap companies, but we want some kind of stability because they have some particular moats as well. So before we waste any more time, let's deep dive into the world of our PPTs. Okay, let's go into it very quickly. Okay, so this is called growth plus stability, which is an all-in-one small case, right? Now, let me show you about this, right? The first thing what we have done with the basis of selection, we have taken a business model. We have also done some financial analysis. We have done a margin of safety. What is margin of safety? Because is it a good time to enter? Is it a good time to exit? We will look at that. Sector outlook, growth prospects, governance and competition. We will look at some of these small things. And also, I will make a small case and give it to you. So you can do that. You can click on that link and go through it as well. Also, I will go through some technical analysis to find out some good entry points and exit points, right? So these are some of the things that we will be doing. So the first company is called Polycab India. Now let's just quickly look at Polycab India. So I'm also going to show you the small case. So I'm creating this small case called Shashank's growth and stability small case. You can create your own. Basically, I am putting in all the 5 companies that are here. Now, please stay till the end, mainly because I'm going to show you the entry and exit points as well if you are planning to enter in any of these companies, and we will do a quick analysis of these companies as well, because these companies not only give you performance, they also have a good amount of stability because their revenues are also very good. But some of them are slightly overvalued, some of them are in a very good position to buy right now. So we will go through all of that. So if I'm going to save this small case in the description, you can click on it and you can keep it in your small case for tracking as well. Okay, so you can put it in your app as well. So I'm just going to save this small case and I'm going to come back to this. Now, the first company that we will look at is Polycab. Now, if we look at the Polycab before we go into fundamental analysis, if you just look at technical analysis, Polycab on a daily chart has been trading range bound in this particular channel for a long period of time, right? And you can put this channel as well in your trading view. Now, anytime we see a breakout happening, this would be really good for Polycab, but this is also known as an accumulation zone. So almost from the last 1 year, Polycab has been in an accumulation zone where it has not gone up a bit too much. But looking at everything else around in the market, this looks very ripe for Polycab to actually go up right now. So every time it comes down to this channel, it could be an accumulation zone, good time to buy. If it breaks out, is also a good time to buy. Now let's quickly go into the Polycab as well, right? So Polycab is what? Polycab is largest manufacturer of wires and cables in India. Again, a small introduction. I will share this presentation as well with you guys at the end of this episode, so don't worry about it. So basically, Polycab is one of the fastest growing electrical goods manufacturing companies in India right now. They have really good sales. They have a consolidated turnover of 12,200 crores, which is quite significant, right? So these are some of the important things. There are 23 manufacturing units as well. And if you look at the total revenue, 87% comes from wires and cables. That is where most of the revenue comes from. Some of them are fast moving electrical goods and copper and other, right? And if you look at the mix, it is a very even mix with respect to the region wise breakup. So that is why it's also good, because it's not dependent on one full thing. Recently, they acquired a company called Sylvan Innovation Labs, which basically offered home automation products. So now Polycab is basically trying to leverage this acquisition, take the technology and upgrade its FMEG portfolio right now. Because if you're just doing wire, everyone wants to do something called full stack. Full stack means, yes, you're giving wires, but now you want to be more and more better in the entire building ecosystem. So you'll start giving more home automation services, etc. and other things like that, right? They also have done a recent divestment in their copper business, which was called Riker. Now in FY22, which was this year, Polycab divested 100% stake in Riker Base Private Limited, its copper business, for an enterprise value of 320 crores, right? Basically, Polycab could not utilize the capacity of this business, and they had decided to just focus on the core business and remove this completely, and they transferred this business to Hindalco. Now the company has entered into an agreement where Riker will continue to process and supply high quality copper rods to Polycab, but they will not run the business, is what they're saying right now. Cool. So some of the key highlights, right? Some of the key highlights that Polycab basically has. One is distribution reach, right? They can give it to as many people as possible, mainly because the dealer network is strong and the retail network is very strong. Second, their product portfolio reach is also very good. They've basically launched 30 different models of fans and appliances across different segments and across different categories, which are both premium and normal categories as well. And finally, if you look at the capex, they're continuing to do their 300 to 400 capital expenditure plan as well, with both green and brownfield projects. So if you look at the whole business analysis of the wire industry or the cable industry, it is a fast moving industry. There are growth drivers. The domestic wire industry industry is estimated to have grown by 20 to 25% in FY22, mainly driven by inflation also. But if you look at the housing sector, which is now going to become very good for the next 5 to 7 years, wire industry will start doing really well. So housing sector and renewable energy will give a nice push for the wire segment. That is number one, right? The next stock we will talk about is Varun Beverages. Now, let me quickly show you Varun Beverages chart as well. Now, Varun Beverages has a very interesting chart, okay? Why is it interesting? Because it has been trading in this beautiful channel for a very long period of time, up, down, up, down. But now recently in August, June, July, August, it has basically broken this channel and gone up quite significantly because of some news that have come out. And now it is taking a deep dive correction and it's coming down. And not only this is taking a correction, the whole market is taking a correction, right? So I would say, if you had to ask me, is this a good time to buy or is this a good time to sell? I would say just wait for a moment, right? Now is not a good time to buy for this stock because of the market conditions. Let it go down. Even though today the market has recovered a bit, right? We still see this is correcting right now, right? So I would say anywhere little further down below around 970 or 1000 would be a good time for you guys to accumulate. If you're planning to buy somewhere around 970 to 1000 is a good zone to start accumulating again for Varun Beverages. Now, what do Varun Beverages do? Very quickly, right? So Varun Beverages basically is a key player in the Indian beverage industry and the second largest franchise of PepsiCo, right? It is the second largest franchise of PepsiCo. Earlier they were only in drinks, which is not alcohol, it is non-carbonated beverages, only in beverages, which is Pepsi. But now what they're doing is they're also getting into food, where they've now increased their entire revenue as well. So earlier they were only in these things like Tropicana, Aquafina, Gatorade, Sting, Cream Bell, Pepsi, Mirinda, Mountain Dew. But now they're going more into foods as well. So that is something that is also very interesting to look at. Now, Varun Beverage also is very key in a way because they also have, so this is just a brief understanding of them. They have 20 lakh outlets. Basically, the manufacturing capabilities are amazing. The distribution capabilities are amazing, and they have very good track record of doing this as well. Now, one of the interesting thing about the business model is basically they're very unique because most of the FMCG companies don't outsource packaging and distribution to other companies, whereas PepsiCo is doing it with them, right? So they have a partnership with PepsiCo from the last 28 years, and it has created a beautiful win-win formula for both of them. Now, unlike Coca-Cola, which has its own bottler, Pepsi transfers its bottling operations to Varun Beverages and also gives the trademark formulation through concentrate as well to VBL, right? So the VBL his main job is to manufacture and distribute and find out what the demand is coming in the space. So all of these are happening there as well. And R&D, packaging and by PepsiCo along with advertising and promotions handled by PepsiCo itself. So they come into the operation business. Now, why is this good? Mainly because new reach, international reach and growth, right? Now, first of all, it'll start doing really well right now because we're entering the Diwali season. Navratri is going on, Diwali season will come on. A lot of consumption of these carbonated soft beverages will keep happening, right? Whether it's normally or whether it's through something else, it'll keep happening, right? International reach, now they're also setting up a new company called Varun Beverages RDC SAS in the Republic of Africa. So they're going to Africa, they're going to Morocco, they're trying to take the continent there as well. So that is also some push that Varun Beverages is doing. So all of these will obviously contribute to the growth of Varun Beverages, right? And it's fundamentally very, very strong with a good revenue growth as well. Now, the third one, very important, Pedialyte industry with a super moat and monopoly in the adhesive sector or the adhesive sector, right? Now, let me show you the chart for Pedialyte as well. Now, Pedialyte, again, look at this. So Pedialyte was again very range bound, but it has been giving a significant amount of growth consistently, right? Every time it does a growth, it takes a small time to consolidate and then goes back. Every time it takes a growth, takes a small time to consolidate. So now you will see recently it has witnessed a growth. Now it is in a consolidation phase. So any time right now would be a good time to start accumulating, right? Please look at the fundamentals also, not only just technical, but from a technical angle, it has been consolidating right now. And I think anything in this zone is a good time to buy, right? Now, coming back to Pedialyte. Now, Pedialyte basically has 60 years of market experience and market leadership. They have been in this space for a very long period of time. The number 2 and number 3 in this space is very low. So they have this beautiful monopoly as well that they currently operate in right now. Okay. So basically the Indian adhesives and construction and chemical industry is again growing quite significantly. And 70% of Pedialyte's money comes from the revenue also comes from adhesives, and also their market share 70% is in adhesive business as well. Now 50% of market share in construction chemicals, waterproofing segment also Pedialyte is there, and 25% market share in waterproofing basically belongs to Asian Paints, right? Now, the waterproofing market itself is a 6,000 crore market, but the adhesive industry, global adhesive industry, is massive and has an expected growth rate of 5 to 7. Now, please understand, the adhesive industry also is very heavily dependent on the construction industry. That is where the demand driver comes in, right? So, construction material and chemicals again is very underpenetrated in India, number one. And there is a lot of room for domestic players to grow, and this is obviously been there, and it's a household name because we don't go to a place and say give us gum, we say Fevicol de do, right? So that is how it has gone into our head. But let's look at some of the key risks as well that are there in the adhesive space. One is it's a raw material and capex intensive sector. That means if there's any change in the raw material, the price will go up and it could affect the sales of the company, right? Then apart from that, supply chain distribution is the major issue for rise in vinyl acetate monomer. Again, this key raw material has gone up by 100% in the last 1 year, which will again get a big problem to these guys because they can't pass on the cost to the distributor because then they'll go to somewhere else. So strong erosion in operating margin also happens with chemical companies and with these companies if the rise in price happens. But if the rise in price falls down, if the raw material starts falling down, then there is significant profit that will keep coming, right? Then we have Tata Lexi. Okay, again, another good growth plus stability stock. But Tata Lexi also, a lot of people say that, Shashank, you know what, it's been going up a lot. Do we buy now or not? So let's look at Tata Lexi's chart as well, finally. Now, Tata Lexi is also, again, as very similar to Varun Beverages, has been trading in this channel for a very long period of time. So anything below this channel would be a buy, anything above this channel would be a wait, right? Because every time it goes above the channel, it comes back down. This is a very, very, very good time to buy according to this channel. But if you look at the macroeconomic factors and if you look at the global factors right now, IT companies are doing really bad, and I don't think IT companies will do really well in the next few years. At least 1 year they might not do really well, and this always happens. So I would suggest wait for one more result of Tata Lexi, and if it's bad, it will go down even more, then start accumulating. If the results are good, you'll come back into this channel, you can start accumulating again, right? Now, what does Tata Lexi do? Let's quickly check that as well. So Tata Lexi is basically an engineering research and development service provider. Okay, they're a very weird type of tech company. It's not like your TCS. They're a very weird type of tech company where they help in engineering and R&D. And they're in these weird industries also. Like for example, they're in broadcast, communication, healthcare, transformation, healthcare, medical devices, cloud, mobility, virtual reality, artificial intelligence, EV as well. So all of these things come into the place. Now, how do they do it? They have two types of revenue generation model. One is the fixed price model. One is time and material basis model. Third is licensing. Fourth is commission, and fifth is pay-per-use model, right? Now, if you look at their R&D expenditure, it's 1.45% of total turnover, which is great because they're constantly innovating new products. And if a company innovates new products, they will obviously take over the market as well, right? So that is again very important. As I said, the industries that they serve, all of these industries are there. I will share this document with you, so don't worry about it. Now, finally, Deepak Nitrite. If you look at Deepak Nitrite, specialty chemical play. Now, specialty chemical is going to be really big in the future, right? And let me show you Deepak Nitrite, because Deepak Nitrite, again, as the graph suggests, is in a very range bound position again, and currently it's trading slightly below its 200-day moving average, which is considered a bearish sign, right? So every time it comes towards this area, which is around 1800, it is a good time to buy. Even now is an okay time to buy, right? But if you're keeping it for a very long period of time, which I suggest everyone should keep it for minimum 3 to 4 years, then it would look really interesting. Why? Because Deepak Nitrite is very good in the chemical space and is also a leading not monopoly, but a leading manufacturer there. It's a market leader there, and they have all these different types of chemical products, mostly in the specialty chemical space. So whenever a company is in the specialty chemical space, it tends to do much better than other companies. And they're also the phenolics that you see in the last one, that has also become a major revenue driver for them recently, right? And the clients also are really good clients. So they have 30 products with more than 1,000 plus customers in 45 countries. So these companies are also very good. And if you look at the revenue which comes from the domestic to foreign revenue, you will see domestic revenue, there is massive demand growth happening, and foreign revenue, slow demand growth is happening. But most of the revenue is coming from India, right, from domestic sources, which is again a significant thing in the company, right? Now, if you look at the future outlooks of the company, they are planning to foray into advanced solvents and different type of chemicals as well, which will again help them grow. Apart from that, they're also investing 1,500 crores into new upstream and downstream products. Again, this is going to be very interesting when you look at that. And finally, they're adding 700 crores of capex for the year 2023-24, which will kick in maybe around 25, right? And that's when you see a massive revenue jump kicking in as well. So all of these things are there, very interesting. And finally, we have another company called IHCL, right, which is your Taj Hotels. Now, if you look at IHCL, let me quickly show you IHCL here. I think I forgot to add it. Okay, Indian Hotels. Yeah. Now, IHCL is very interesting. Again, if you see the massive rise that is happening with respect to IHCL, it is in a beautiful growth trend. Wait for a small consolidation here, and then you can rebuy it again after a small consolidation. And you will look at IHCL and Mahindra stage doing really well, mainly because now they're moving from an asset heavy model to an asset light model. Now, what is an asset light model? Basically, they're saying we will not go put up the entire business, we will not go put up entire buildings. We will do 50% of that, but the remaining 50% we will go to existing resort owners and we will say that beautiful, you have done all the work and infrastructure. Let me come and put my Taj logo, Taj banner, Taj management, and then I will handle operations. So that way they do a revenue share with the current people, very similar to how builders do it with landowners, right? Now they have obviously different types of hotel chains. They have Taj, not only Taj, they have Ginger, they have Vivanta, they have Selections, and now they have Ama stays as well. They have the Palace, they have Safaris, they have a lot of things going on. Now what they're saying is we want to move more deep into it. They're also in, if you look at the food business, they're also there as well. So they're into F&B, they're also into stay. And if you look at the Taj brand, they have 75 properties and 10,000 rooms, Vivanta 25 and 3,500, Selection and Ginger as well, right? Now looking at what they're doing in the future, they're doing a massive, so they're talking something called Reset 2020, right? Which is revenue growth, excellence, spend optimization, effective asset management, and financial prudence. That means now they're moving into an asset light growth model where they're going to have new leases with new management and the contracts, and this will ensure that they expand very fast in the market, and the revenues will also come very fast because now you don't have to wait for 30 40 3 4 5 years for the money to come into the bank account, right? So a lot of interesting things happening with IHCL. I will share this link with you. I will share it in the small case link as well. Below that I will share the PPT link with all you guys. Let me come back. Awesome. So guys, this was the entire video of the mid-cap companies with very good growth and stability prospects. I'm going to share the link with you for the PPT and for the small case below so you can track it. Again, I've shown you the entry points and exit points. Some of them look really ripe to buy right now. Some of them you might have to wait for another quarter or at least for some further correction, right? But I hope you guys like this, and if you did, please put it in the comments below. What else would you like to see? What other types of sector analysis would you like to see? And I will come and do a deep dive sector analysis of all of that. Awesome. This is me, Shashank, Udupa, signing off. Take care. See you guys. Bye.